You remember that badass Bardock we saw in Dragon Ball Z? The same guy who tanked several of Frieza's soldiers and even transformed into a Super Saiyan in his special? Well, have you ever wondered who would win in a fight? That Old Testament Bardock or Goku after the Frieza saga? Luckily for us, that question has already been answered. And in this video, I'm going to tell you the result of that battle. Stay connected in the channel and let's go to the video. In 2008, the game Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit was released worldwide. It was a Dragon Ball game that brought us a lot of interesting things, including official alternative stories within the franchise. And one very interesting story that this game tells us is what would happen if Bardock ended up on Earth and faced some of the Z Warriors, including Goku. The game doesn't specify exactly where in the series timeline this story takes place, but by watching the scenes, we can get a good idea, and I'll explain it to you throughout the video, alright? Our story begins with Bardock suddenly appearing tired in a field on Earth and confused because he has no idea why he's there. Krillin arrives on the scene. At first he mistakes Bardock for Goku, but he's a bit confused and asks what Goku is doing there. Bardock turns to Krillin, wondering who he is. When Krillin gets a good look at Bardock's face, he finds it really strange. Even though Bardock and Goku look very similar, there are a lot of differences between them too, like Bardock's scars, his outfit, his whole vibe, and so on. It doesn't take long for Krillin to focus on Bardock's ki, and that's when he realizes this guy isn't Goku. Bardock ends up getting interested in Krillin and asks if he wants to fight. Even though he has no idea what's going on, Krillin shows he's got guts and charges in. Krillin gives it his all in the fight against Bardock, pushing his ki to the max and going all out. But there's no way around it. Our little bald buddy ends up losing in the end. After winning the fight, Bardock comments that Krillin seemed to mistake him for someone else, which makes him curious. Remember, Bardock only knows his son as Kakarot. He doesn't know that his Earth name is Goku. With the last bit of his strength, Krillin calls out for Goku, but he passes out right after. But wait, does it make sense for Bardock to defeat Krillin? Well, considering that this story takes place around the beginning of the Android saga for the Earth Fighters, and after Bardock's special for Bardock, I think the result does make sense. Krillin ended the Frieza saga with a power level still far below that of the Ginyu Force members, while Bardock, in his special, had enough power to defeat Chilled, a member of Frieza's race. Chilled was definitely not stronger than Frieza in his more powerful forms, but I highly doubt he was weaker than the Ginyu Force members. Alright, Bardock needed Super Saiyan to defeat Chilled in his special, and by the end of the Frieza saga, Krillin was probably already stronger than almost any Saiyan on planet Vegeta by Dragon Ball Z's power standards. But I believe Bardock in base form from the special could still defeat the Krillin from the end of the Frieza saga, since he might have gone through some Zenkais. And when we talk about Bardock from Dragon Ball Super, things get even harder for Krillin, since we found out that Bardock had a huge power boost in the Granola saga, which likely put him far above any other Saiyan from planet Vegeta. But the Bardock in this game is the Z version, not the Super version, so I won't take Dragon Ball Super into account here, alright? Anyway, to sum it up, I don't think it's inconsistent for post-special Bardock in base form to defeat Krillin from the end of the Frieza saga, but you might be wondering how I know this story takes place at the end of the Frieza saga and the beginning of the Android saga for the Z Fighters and at the end of Bardock's special for Bardock, right? Well, we'll understand that better in the next fight, so stay tuned. And if you find this story interesting, like the video and subscribe to the channel to always receive a lot of Dragon Ball content that comes out here, okay? Back to the game story. Bardock's scouter starts alerting him to the presence of other powerful individuals. Bardock, realizing that his scouter is detecting several powerful fighters nearby, gets really excited and says he's going to have some fun. Bardock then flies over to the middle of the desert, where he encounters none other than the Prince of the Saiyans, Vegeta. At first, Vegeta thinks it's Goku when he lays eyes on him, but after taking a closer look, he realizes this isn't Kakarot, it's Bardock. Vegeta is completely confused upon seeing Bardock there, since he was supposed to be dead like the rest of the Saiyans. He even wonders if this could be the result of someone using the Dragon Balls. And that brings up that old question: why has no one ever thought about resurrecting the Saiyans from planet Vegeta or restoring the planet itself? But anyway, that's another discussion. BARDOCK's scouter starts detecting Vegeta's power, and he admits that it's quite impressive. But to Vegeta's humiliation, BARDOCK says he's only going to be a little warm-up. Saying something like that straight to Vegeta's face, that's an instant fight. Obviously, Vegeta gets completely pissed off when he hears that and gets ready to throw down, saying that BARDOCK talks too much for a low-class Saiyan. The two then fight, but in the end, Vegeta is defeated, left furious that he lost to a mere low-class warrior. Seeing that Vegeta, despite everything, still has the strength to stand, BARDOCK says that's impressive and decides to let the prince live. He also tells Vegeta to come find him again for a fight once he gets stronger. Of course, hearing that only makes Vegeta angrier, but there's not much more he can do. And it's because of this fight between BARDOCK and Vegeta that I believe this story from the game takes place chronologically at the beginning of the Android saga, since Vegeta doesn't use Super Saiyan against BARDOCK, which means he doesn't have that transformation yet. But commenting on this fight, I have to admit that I'm not so sure if the result the game gave us makes sense or not. As I mentioned, BARDOCK at the end of his special had more than enough strength to defeat Chilled, but only in Super Saiyan. BARDOCK in his base form was much weaker than Chilled. Meanwhile, Vegeta at the end of the Frieza saga, even in his base form, already seemed to be stronger than all of Frieza's restricted forms, since he was confident he could defeat Frieza after the Zenkai boost he got from the wound Krillin inflicted on him. Okay, he got beaten down like a dog by Frieza, but that was because he wasn't expecting Frieza's final form to be so powerful. So, if he was so confident, even after having seen the power of the other forms, it was because Vegeta could face Frieza's other forms. Unlike Frieza, Chill didn't seem to have any extra transformations, which implies that he was far weaker than Frieza. So, I believe that base Vegeta at the end of the Namek saga could defeat Chilled without much trouble. If that's the case, then post-special base BARDOCK should never be able to defeat post-Namek saga base Vegeta, especially not this easily, and while even mocking Vegeta. But of course, that's just my interpretation. If you have some info I don't or a different take on the situation, drop a comment so we can debate it, alright? Now moving on to the final part of the story. Goku is also in the desert, looking pretty tense, probably because he sensed what happened in BARDOCK and Vegeta's battle through Ki, and realized that whoever just arrived on Earth is insanely strong. BARDOCK approaches him and, upon seeing his son, obviously recognizes him right away. He says he wants to see just how strong the son of a low-class warrior has become. Goku is surprised that BARDOCK knows about him and asks who he is. The funny thing is that Goku doesn't seem to realize that this guy looks exactly like him. BARDOCK responds by saying that he's sure Goku will understand after they fight. BARDOCK makes the first move and charges at Goku, who responds by rushing forward as well. The two clash and start exchanging blows in a fairly even fight, with both of them being pushed back before launching into round 2. And that's when the real fight begins. Midway through the battle, Goku realizes that this opponent before him is truly incredible, but even in such a tough situation, he still manages to get excited. Goku then charges in again, this time with even more determination. But no matter how hard Goku tries, there's just no way. He ends up at a disadvantage. But BARDOCK isn't disappointed. He admits that his son is really something, acting like nothing even happened after all the fighting they've done. Goku then decides to show that this was nothing more than a warm-up and that he still has plenty of fuel to burn. He proves it by transforming into a Super Saiyan and asking if BARDOCK is ready for more. When BARDOCK sees this transformation, he immediately recognizes it as Super Saiyan and is very impressed. He comments that Goku was just a baby with a power level of 1 and nobody thought he'd ever amount to anything as a warrior, yet now he's become incredibly strong. BARDOCK is undoubtedly very proud of his son. Suddenly, BARDOCK vanishes from the scene, leaving Goku a bit confused. Then, as if speaking directly into Goku's mind, he says that they'll fight again someday. Well, that was a really beautiful moment. father and son fighting, with the father finally recognizing the worth of his son, who had been doubted by everyone. And to top it off, that same son, who was once underestimated, ended up becoming the legendary warrior, the Super Saiyan. It's also because of this fight that I truly believe this is Bardock after the special, since he recognized the Super Saiyan transformation, which he hadn't seen before that. But what about the consistency of this part? Is it coherent or not? Well, everything I said about Bardock's fight with Vegeta applies here too, but even more so. Goku in his base form at the end of the Namek saga was already much stronger than Vegeta in his base form, since he managed to tank a fight against Frieza. Sure, Frieza was just toying with Goku, but Goku was at least able to put up a fight, and he even managed to injure Frieza. So, if I believe that base Vegeta was stronger than base Bardock from the special, the same applies to Goku. In other words, I don't think the outcome of this fight was accurate. However, at least here we can say that Goku didn't go all out, since he didn't show any signs of major injuries or exhaustion at the end of the fight before transforming. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Would post-special base Bardock be able to defeat post-Namek Saga base Goku or not? Tell me your thoughts. Anyway, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with a fellow Dragon Ball fan. And if you want to support our work while getting access to some exclusive perks from the Hakai channel for a very small amount, check out our Patreon. The link to learn more is in the video description and the pinned comment. A huge hug to everyone who stuck with me until the end, and I'll see you all in the next video.